Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up in their names, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So as promised, I told you I was going to talk about marital assets and its protections, which I just went over in a previous video. But now we're going to talk about the 401k. Can your 401k be protected during a marriage? Can it be protected during a marriage in case of divorce? Now, as you all know, the numbers and percentages have probably changed a little bit, but at the last time I checked, the divorce rate in America was 50%. 80% of the time it's initiated by women. I do believe that number has gone down just a bit. The biggest reasons for divorce in America today are financial stress as well as irreconcilable differences. With that being said, people do come into relationships sometimes having more than others. And in terms of more, we mean assets. And some people also come into relationships with more liabilities than others. And I've already talked about how to separate debts so that you're not stuck with a bill, especially in the case of a divorce. Now, today we're going to talk about the 401k. This has been the crux of my existence because this is the one asset that is absolutely very difficult to protect, even in a divorce or even with a prenuptial agreement. And so your prenuptial agreement is not going to stop your spouse from having access to your 401k. This is your retirement benefits. This is probably the biggest asset that you'll ever have in your life. People talk about their home all the time as their biggest asset, but a home is not an asset when you have to pay property taxes on it and it's going up in value, and then you also have to ensure that you can pay for that during retirement. You have to be able to pay for that, and then your children have to pay for that if you want to pass it down to them. And sometimes it can be a burden rather than a blessing. And so what we want is an asset that is going to make us money and not take money out of our pockets. And that is where your 401k comes in handy. That is your retirement. This is something that you've been bleeding sweat into for many, many years. And the only way to get around it is with a dual 401k prenuptial agreement. And what does that mean? That means you essentially have to rely on your significant other to also be working and want to continue to work, right? And mind you, people say a lot of stuff. You'll hear women say they want to work. You'll hear men say they want to work. But at the end of the day, they may show you different. They may show you different as soon as they have a child. They may show you different as soon as something happens in their life to where they just want to live and no longer work. They may show you different in various ways, right? And so now you're essentially stuck as the only breadwinner, and then that prenuptial agreement is no longer valid. The 401k dual agreement only works if both people have a 401k and they're both contributing to it. What did I just say? That means you have your 401k here, they have their 401k here, and you're both contributing to your 401k. And therefore, in your prenuptial agreement, you say, we're going to have separate 401ks. These are our separate assets, and we will pour into them separately. That is the only way that your 401k will not be divided as a marital asset. And so this one is the crux of my existence because it doesn't rely on just me only. It doesn't rely on me being financially smart, financially savvy, and doing the right things. It also relies on your significant other. Your significant other could tell you that they're investing in their 401k, but you never know if they are unless you check and you do your due diligence. Your significant other can be investing in their 401k, and then they can essentially just stop and say, man, I need more money to do X, Y, and Z, or I need more money for this, or for this trip, or for this vacation. And so because the 401k relies on the partner to also be investing in their 401k, in order for you to no longer be on the hook to split your 401k and your retirement assets, it is absolutely, absolutely a pain. Yeah, it's tough. That one is a tough one. So a prenuptial agreement is not going to be ironclad when it comes to your 401k or retirement. And if you have a pension, yes, your spouse can still have access to your pension. Even if the pension says that you must work until you're 57 and you decide to work until you're 65, if your spouse wants access to the pension at 57, they will be able to go to the courts and get access to your pension at the age of 57, even though you're still working. Yes, 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 yes. And so things like that, at least in my state, are very, very, very tricky. Now, it might be different in other states where they may not have access to the pension until you fully retire. But in my state, they would be able to access the pension prior to retirement, even if the said individual is still working and not wanting to access their pension at this time. And so the 401k, it being the biggest asset for most people, it being the thing that is going to grow probably more than any other asset class, yeah, that really sucks that you have to necessarily rely on another individual in order to protect that asset, right? You can't protect the asset alone. The same person that's divorcing you is also going to be required in order to protect your 401k. It's the funniest thing in the world. It is the most absolutely funniest thing in the world. So the 401k essentially cannot be protected. It is still a risk. It is still a risk. Is it a risk worth taking for you is the question. And if it is, well, kudos to you. You know the risk, you understood it, and you decided to move forward. So I congratulate you on that. But all the other assets can be protected. I already talked about an irrevocable trust with the homes. I already talked about trust in general can have some effect. Prenuptial agreements will absolutely have some effect, especially on assets that you had prior to marriage. But on the 401k and Roth IRA, it will not work, unfortunately. So if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for podcasters, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.